Do you remember the twins that were running American Pain? It was the biggest pill mill or prescription pain clinic in South Florida. It's called American Pain, and it was run by these two twins who were born. They were born conjoined twins at birth, and then they ran a steroid business, and they got in trouble, and then they realized that actually they could make a lot more money from selling OxyContin than they could from selling steroids. So they opened this little small strip mall pain clinic. And as you saw, people started coming in from all over the country and buying, and the doctors wouldn't even look at them, and they were prescribing pills like it was Tic Tacs. And we found out about them because we were reporting in Kentucky, and we were the sheriff who was, overdoses all around them, people, dying, devastating his community, and a lot of the pill bottles had this name, American Pain. And we went down there, and we took out the camera, and my husband took out the camera, and the first shot we got immediately, within minutes, this big SUV came with two big guys who were threatening us and started yelling at us and telling us to leave, that we weren't allowed to film. So we drove off, and I'm driving, and this is actually in the film, but I'm driving, and my husband's filming, and they're right behind us. And we decided to film this as the last thing. We were heading to the airport. And we're driving down I-85 to head to the airport, and they start following us. And then I realize I have very little gas. So I stop at the gas station, and they stop right behind us. And they come out of the car. And these were big guys. And the day before, we'd been watching The Sopranos. So in my mind, they were coming out guns a-blazing, and they were going to kill us both. So I drove off. I was so nervous, and I drove off, and they continued following us, and I didn't put gas in the car. So we're on I-95, and we called 911 and said, hey, we're being followed by this car, and to explain the situation. And then I ran out of gas as we were filming, and I pulled over to the curb, but they were so sort of surprised, shocked. They had no idea, confused by what was happening, that they just parked behind us and they never came out of the car, and then the police arrived. And then they made up an excuse that they thought I was an old girlfriend or something like that. But my husband took down their license plates and found out their names, and it was the George brothers, Jeff and Chris George, who were running the biggest prescription or pill mill in America's history. They were making, I think, something like $40 million a year out of this small little pill mill, strip mall clinic, and it was incredible. And then a year later, one of them just left prison, and the other one was still in prison.
So those were the guys that were following you, the guys that owned the organization.
That owned American Pain. Our
Wow.
organization was just a strip mall pain clinic with thousands of patients that would come in and out, and tons of doctors writing prescription pills. And when we were working at the time, where we'd been interviewing off the record a DEA agent who didn't want to go on the record, that we later found out was actually investigating them, and they had wiretaps. So in Darren's movie, he got his hands on all the wiretaps, so you could hear them. And part of it, there's a part where they talk about us and our film and how we were trying to look into them. So it all sort of came. Yeah,
That's it. South Florida Pain
yeah. So
Clinic.
it's South Florida Pain Clinic, and then they changed to a new location, a bigger location, and called it. Yeah, that's it. And called it American Pain.
What a great name, by the way.
Yeah,
American Pain. And those are the two brothers down there with the fish?
Yeah, that's the two brothers.
Those are the guys that were chasing you?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, they found a loophole.